Hey, what's going on? Thank you so much for watching. It would mean the world to us if you could just scroll down, like, hit the subscribe button for the Snaps YouTube channel. It goes a long way towards helping us out. Now, let's dive into some college football. Next year, you do like a way too early top 25, and you already see what an insane offseason it's been, right? Alabama checking in at 9, 8, wherever you want to put him. Michigan all the way down to 13 now. Give me your favorites, dude. Who do you think? I mean, outside of Georgia, we hold these truths to be self-evident. Georgia, the Bulldogs, the number one favorite. Outside of the Dogs, who you thinking actually is going to contend next year?
So as I sit up in my seat, I do want.
I thought that was a Roddy Piper shirt this whole time.
I just want him to be on the radar. Okay,
it's an Iowa State shirt for those listening on podcast
with a tornado on it. Yeah, so we've been down for a little while. I'm going to do like a lot of fan bases. I'm not saying we're going to make the title, but we can make the playoff. That's going to be the cry for pretty much half the country this year. Georgia, yes. Ohio State, absolutely yes. Yep. Bookmark that. I want to come back to that. Oregon, absolutely yes. Also bookmark them. I don't know what in the world to expect from Alabama. I don't think there's any skill in knowing that, and I pay attention to that program as much as anyone. I have no clue. Is Florida State just here now? DJ Uiagalelei comes in, and people just kind of assume, well, they'll plug him and play him. Hey, great if you do. Great if you do. I don't know what to assume about them yet. Is Clemson really just taking a permanent step back to tier 2, or did they need to go through year 1 under Garrett Riley and go through the ups and downs? And are they athletic enough at receiver, which has been their biggest singular drop off? I don't know. Texas is legit. I saw an opening point spread the other day of them versus Oklahoma, and it's like 10.5. So that's the perceived gap on a neutral field between those two right now.
That ain't good, bro. Not preventables.
I'm trying to see if I can name every team in the sport, therefore leaving no one out.
That's kind of exciting, though, that you have this many answers to that, right?
Yeah, and Notre Dame, I'm going to talk about this on my show tonight. Notre Dame is, to me, the most bastardized / misunderstood brand, team, etc. in the sport. Penn State kind of is a minor league version of this. I cannot mention either one of them without the conversation turning completely insane. You mentioned Notre Dame. Notre Dame, I think, went 9-3 or 10-2 last year. They finished in the top 15. I think if I were to rank the program over the past decade or 15 years, I think they're in the 6 to 12 range, somewhere like that. Okay, you put them in there, and people call them overrated. At which point you say, what are they rated? And the person will shoot back, well, they couldn't touch Georgia or Alabama. Well, I'm not rating them above them. I actually have them behind those teams. So I'm asking you, if they're overrated, by default, there is someone rated behind them that belongs above them. And it's this massive circular descendance into hell, and you never end up getting a logical answer. It's the same thing with Franklin at Penn State.
He's overrated. Right on Penn
State. Overrated. Franklin's overrated. Well, who is he losing to? Yeah. Michigan and Ohio State. Well, they're rated above him. Who is he? He's not supposed to lose to, according to odds makers. Now, if you want to say you think Notre Dame should be better or Penn State should be better, okay, that's another conversation. They're not overrated. So anyway, like 10 minutes ago, we were talking about playoff teams. I think Notre Dame's a playoff team. I think Penn State might as well have personally built the playoff, because there are like 8 instances that they would have been in the past that they haven't been in. And so now James Franklin could not change a thing about himself. And all of a sudden, if you judge coaches based off playoff appearances and playoff appearances alone, he is going to elevate into stratospheres never before seen. And he's going to look around and say, what happened? I'm the same guy I've always been. What's happening?
I do want to bring up a team. I feel like you're a little bit higher on them than our boy T-Bob is. You were down there last spring, and that's Miami.
Oh yeah.
Can Miami
waste some of the few precious minutes we have on Mario Cristofrod? Yeah, we're gonna waste more precious minutes of the man with a 13-year sample size and a 500 record.
Your negativity.
Okay, I've leaned back. I mean, my body language is horrible. I have my arms crossed. I have my leg propped up. I want you, before I tell you my reasoning, to Bob, if that's your name, I want you to tell me what you think of Miami. Are we talking team or program? Like 2024?
I am using the basis of logic. Yes. I am using Mario Cristofrod's overall head coaching record
All right.
through a very large sample size. What are we? Let's do a little check. I'm guessing we're at 74 and 73 overall as a head coach. Let's see here. LoveSportsReference.com. 74 and 73, 13 years, boys.
Oh, that wasn't rigged at all. That wasn't.
No, it's because I talk a lot of shit.
Memorized.
I talk a lot of shit, so I guess I had it buried in my mind somewhere. No, it's not about Miami. It's not about the potential of could they be back, could they not? I don't know. Maybe I don't. I just see a coach. I mean, they got what? They got 2 games better this year, game and a half. So
I do know that.
Maybe they're on the right path. I'm a hater until he proves me wrong. But I was a hater on Venables, and he kind of punched back at me last year. I was a hater on Sark. He definitely won that, right? He had never won 10 games. So, Cristobal, you're next, dude.
Yeah. What I think about Mario Cristobal is it's not what you said, but it's not nearly as glowing as people make it out to be. I think he's a great acquirer of talent. And then I stop. I put a period on the end of the sentence. And I know what the follow-up is. There's going to be this army yell, well, yeah, but he's a recruiter, but he sucks on game day. Well, he hasn't won at the highest level on game day. But you mentioned Sark, which I'm glad you did. I'm a big believer that the words can't versus haven't are discombobulated and interchanged in this sport when they shouldn't be. A lot of folks have not done something, but that's different than cannot do something. So with Mario, like, for instance, when we were down there this past spring, all he kept telling me is, Pate, 2024, just give me to 2024, give me to 2024. Okay. Oh, 2023 happened, and they improved by 2 games. They still maintain that. Circle 2024 will be good, and that'll be the team. That's the one from thenceforth that we want to be judged on. So my theory on them is they're in better position than they have been from a roster perspective. They have an infusion of the donor class that they probably haven't had in several years. They are breaking ground on incredible facilities, so they got all that taken care of down there. The NIL game, they're not getting beat by anyone in. I think he is a great acquirer of talent who now has to prove it on the field. That's what I think about him. I just think that having the talent doesn't guarantee you're going to do anything. Not having the talent guarantees you're not going to do something. That's always been my philosophy.
Yeah. I love that can't versus haven't. I'm going to steal that. I mean, I'll credit you when I say it, but I like that. Like, conceptually, it's an excellent way of framing it in your brain. You said you wanted to earmark Ohio State.
Yeah. Do you think that Ryan Day, do you believe in the intangible that some people throw around about him of he can't win the big game?
No, because he was a kick away from basically winning a natty 2 years ago.
Okay, I call that logic. To me, that is sound logic. I think that there are instances in our sport, Day is the most recent one. Kirby was this way for a couple of times.
True.
Until all of a sudden he broke through. But Kirby, I'm old enough to remember the 2019, 2020 years when people started to say, well, yeah, Kirby's good, but he's never going to get past Saban. Kirby's good, but he can't win a national title. He can't win the big one. And I just think Ryan Day is 5 years ago's Kirby Smart. Running a dominant program, got a wonderful roster. He'll have his folks in position to take a swing at it every year. It's like a ladder match. They'll reach the top 3 rungs, so they are within reach of the belt every year. It's hard to grab it. It's just hard to grab it. So they're coming into this year, and his own fan base is buying into the idea that if we don't literally go wire to wire, it's a failure. We should explore making a change at the highest levels. And every time I broach that on my show, I always get coaches who don't coach for him who chime in and say, bro, you're so right. Like, we look at him and we think he's elite. We think he's the real deal. You got some folks in the Big Ten that hate him for other reasons. But I think there's a lot of jealousy that he's the one who got that job. And he's the one who was kind of gifted Ohio State. No one even knows what the guy's actual career and track record is. It's not like he was 23 years old. It's not like he was a broadcaster whose dad was a big deal, so he just gets handed the mic. That wasn't right.
Hold on now. As a Nepo baby that literally had that happen. Hold on now, Josh.
That hit close to home a little bit.
No, but look, I mean, your point stands. I think it also kind of speaks to the power of rivalry for college football, right? You lose to Michigan a couple times, and all of a sudden, like,
few times,
because he's the inverse of Cristobal. His overall coaching record's unbelievable.
That's
but it's just like 3 key losses, and all of a sudden, I don't know if he's the guy.